What's going on, guys? Carmine here, and yeah, a couple of days ago, Game of Thrones completely swept the Emmys with so many award wins, and I'm as perplexed as everybody else. But before we get to that, George R. R. Martin had some interesting comments before all that began about the longevity of the show and how it could have gone into more seasons, and that's what I wanted to discuss tonight. And I'll let the clip speak for itself.
Why is it ending?
I don't know. Ask David and Dan when they come through. We could have gone to 11, 12, 13 seasons, but I guess they wanted a life.
So you wanted it to keep going.
Well, if you've read my novels, you know there was enough material for more seasons. They made certain cuts, but that's fine. We have 5 other shows, 5 prequels in development.
I'm going to end it right there. The full clip is available on my Twitter and Facebook page, link below in the description. I didn't want to upload the entire thing, just in case Variety got a little antsy about that. But real quick, HBO, Game of Thrones winning so much awards at the Emmys. I'm a bit perplexed by that, because seasons 1, 2, 3, and even 4, I can understand. Personally, I actually like 5 a bit better than 4, even though a lot of people hate it. But I can understand the first 4 seasons winning Emmys. The last 2, that just leaves me a bit confused. But that aside, yeah, so George's comments here is that Game of Thrones could have continued on for many more years. Granted, I feel like 13 seasons a bit much. Maybe 12, 10, 12, I can see. Even 11, but I can't see it going beyond that. That being said, and I don't blame Dave and Dan. Look, a lot of people love to rip on these two dudes, and I always pause before I do, because, once again, I said it during my Season 7 reviews, I'll say it here, the quality is still there. Sure, the writing sucks, and the story is a little meh, but the quality is still there. When you watch an episode of Game of Thrones, you do feel like you're in Westeros. The soundtrack is still fantastic. Armor, weapon designs, set pieces, location filming, sound effects, everything is still there. The characters, I mean, some of the newer characters or original characters are kind of, but that being said, you're gonna get that once again when you're adapting an ongoing story, and George is a slow writer. In an interview recently, he said how he should have finished Winds of Winters 4 years ago, and yeah. So, this is what I wanted to talk about, whether or not Game of Thrones should have continued on into 10 seasons. I'm sure HBO would have loved that, given it the Walking Dead treatment, because The Walking Dead, AMC has said multiple times that is a train that they do not want to stop, and it definitely looks like that. And should Game of Thrones have continued on? Should we give it longevity? Should it continue on into the future with 2, 3, 4 more seasons? As much as I want it to, I know that it shouldn't. So, quick story. I'm a young dude. I'm 26 now. But, back when I was, 17, 18, I got my first job, senior year of high school. And one of the things I did with the money from my first job is get HBO. Because back in the day, Netflix wasn't as, popular as it is now. Netflix back then just rented out movies on DVD. And HBO is where you kind of went for, movies and good original content on TV. And for me, I never really got to see The Wire, The Sopranos, Curb Your Enthusiasm, Rome, which I should definitely take a look at because I love Roman history. For me, my version of HBO was True Blood, True Detective, Boardwalk Empire, Silicon Valley. And one of the shows I've always loved was True Blood. The first 3 seasons, absolutely perfect. Fantastic television. It was Twilight, but for adults, because back then when I was still in high school, Twilight was, incredibly popular. So, it was a breath of fresh air in the whole vampire genre. And as True Blood continued on into Season 4, it started sucking. And I think after Season 4, showrunner Alan Ball, I believe his name is, he left the show. Now, the reason I bring this up is because in the comment section of this interview with George, saying how Thrones could have continued, a lot of people kept saying that, Dave and Dan wanted their life. They should have just stepped down and had a new showrunner come in. And I can tell you right now, from what I've seen with True Blood, that is usually never a good thing. You want to have consistency, especially from behind the scenes. Obviously on screen, but I mean, in terms of writing, you really want that train to have the same conductor throughout. And there have been shows before. I'm kind of drawing a blank here. It's like 3 a.m. There have been shows, and I'm sure people watching this right now, you guys will leave in the comment section, where the showrunner was changed up like mid-series. And it sometimes worked, but most of the times it didn't. And True Blood is the one example I can think of right now where it did not work, because after Alan Ball left, it was just god-awful. I didn't even watch the last season because it was just that bad. That being said, had they replaced Dave and Dan and continued on to 10, 12 seasons, I would have been happy, but at the same time, I know for a fact that it would have gone down in quality. Because as I've seen with a lot of HBO shows, the longer it continues, with even other shows as well, this is not HBO exclusive, the longer it continues, the more chinks in the armor you see. Even though Thrones has that quality, the writing has suffered. Whether that's because, it's gone on too long, or because, adaptation's not there because the books aren't done, that's a debate for the ages. But in my experience, the longer a show has gone on, the more it has gotten stale. And I did have a video on this, and at first I thought it was franchise fatigue. As someone who plays Call of Duty, I know franchise fatigue all too well. But I don't think it is franchise fatigue, because Thrones keep getting more fans every single year and breaking records, not just at the Emmys, in viewership as well, and I'm assuming sales, because they almost kind of encourage pirating, not really. They're almost proud of their numbers in that department. I don't know, like, this is what I'm split on, and this is something I'd like to see what you guys have to say about it, because, once again, I want to see it continue. I want to see more of it adapted, but I don't want it to overstay its welcome, because that's the problem I had with two of my favorite comedy shows of all time, Scrubs and How I Met Your Mother. Scrubs, I absolutely loved the first 7 seasons. Season 8 was not that great, and I'm glad they had a really good finale. And then they kind of had to ruin what that finale built on with a season 9, which I felt was awful. And How I Met Your Mother, once again, the first 7 seasons was great. Season 8 was just not that good. I can respect what they were trying to do with season 8, but I just didn't like it, because it really contradicts, especially the ending, which I won't spoil. But regardless, I'm glad George kind of came out and said this, because this is something a lot of fans, especially book readers, have been saying for a very long time. There were aspects of the book they could have adapted. Hell, even if you wanted 7 or 8 seasons, that's fine. Give us at least 12 to 13 episodes a season. And a lot of people, and every time I've said this, a lot of people in the comment section always get on my case for this, because people always say, well, it takes a long time to film and all that, and, so on and so forth. You can't overwork the actors. I get it, but, I want to say at least 80% of all Thrones is just people standing in the room talking. I mean, if this was, like, an action series where, people are jumping off buildings, which they kind of did towards the end, but, like, jumping off buildings, doing chases, sword fighting and shit, I could understand. If that was, like, nonstop every episode, I get it. Hell, even tone it down to 8 episodes if that's the case. But most of the time, Game of Thrones is just people sitting around in a room talking about an impending threat or how they're going to backstab this one person. And I'm sorry, I know for a fact, because I have been contacted by people inside the production team, and they have proven it, I've verified it. A lot of these scenes takes like a couple days to shoot. Like, an episode where everybody's just sitting around talking usually takes like 3 days to shoot. Trust me, they could have added 12 to 13 episodes. But Dave and Dan wanted a life. They wanted 70 episodes originally. HBO got that to 76, which I'm surprised they got that much, and would probably explain why season 7 wasn't up to snuff, because they wanted to end it out right there at season 7, but HBO wanted extended. My opinion on this is, I think, personally, Thrones should have taken a break every year. Kind of like Westworld does, You come out with season 1 in 2011, I believe, and then you take a break for season 2. And then season 2 comes back in 2013. Then you take a break for season 3, and season 3 comes back in 2015. And so on and so forth. Every other year, take a break. Refresh, recharge your batteries, get some new blood in, get some new writers in, maybe, look at it a different way, get more episodes, so on and so forth. Westworld did it, Thrones could have definitely done it, and people would have waited. Not only that, though, but I actually like what they did for Bran in regards to season 5, where he took a break. Feast for Crows kind of does this with a lot of the main characters. So for season 5, what I feel like they could have done was taken a break, and also given a lot of the other main characters some time off and introduced new ones. And as soon as you introduce those new characters, you probably could have used them and utilized them enough to continue on into probably season 10. Adapt Feast for Crows faithfully, because they did try to cram in a lot of seasons into like one season, which is a video for another day. But yeah, overall, because I've been ranting, I do apologize. Once again, it's 3 a.m. I want to get this off my chest. Overall, I'm split. I wanted Thrones to continue, but at the same time, I know that as it continues, the quality drops, in writing especially. And I love Thrones. I do. As much as I hate Season 6. That's my most hated season. It had some cool episodes, but overall, as much as I wanted to continue, I'm glad that it's ending. And I'm really, really happy that we're getting prequels and other spin-off shows, because I want to see what they can do with other material in this world, original material. Personally, I would have liked a Dunk and Egg adaptation. That's just me. But at the end of the day, I'm glad Thrones is ending, and I'm also glad George R. R. Martin shares our sentiment. People who have read the books, we understand that this could have gone on fairly well into, like, season 20, if they really wanted to adapt it faithfully word for word. But in the end, it is what it is. Guys, this was not scripted at all. I just kind of rambled on. It's like 3 a.m. I apologize, but definitely let me know your thoughts. Oh, and be sure to subscribe or whatever. I usually have this written down, but yeah, I'm tired. Guys, I'll see you all next time. Have a good one.